All right, Shalom, Kol Haloyim, La Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Honors and salutations to you fellow laborers out there doing the work in truth and in sincerity, especially during these times. Shalom to the few Akwaf that believe as well. A hearty shalom to you other laborers and believers that are scattered throughout the face of the earth. Even if you're among the heathen and even like the heathen, who are the speckled bird Israelites, to the household of faith, which is the elect, I want to say shalom to you all. Back at you with another Lord willing quick video lesson and maybe a review or response video, but it's all through the spirit, and Lord willing is edifying. I want to play this clip I seen. It's kind of long, but I'm going to play like the gist of it, where Kevin O'Leary, he's a guy from Shark Tank. He's a billionaire investor, and he shows the right spirit of an Edomite, which the right spirit of an Edomite is to hate you tribes, man, you Israelites, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native American people. All right. So, Kevin O'Leary, he's in the spirit that he's supposed to be in. Problem being is, our people are not in the right spirit, They get in society, the society's political arena or get into politics, and they think they're going to change, the outcome of the way, our people live or make it better for our people. And over, time after time, it all has failed, you know what I mean? And, that's something that our people don't, understand. It's not going to happen, And I'm going to grab this real quick too, man, because it always have failed, you know what I mean? And Jake Steele this very day trying to find a seat at Esau's, table, and there's no seat for you, okay, other than being a servant to Esau, okay, because he's in the ruling seat right now still, This is Proverbs 3:31. It says, "Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways." Right? Don't envy the oppressor. And who's your oppressor? The so-called or self-proclaimed white man, beginning with the wicked elites. Okay, this is their political system that they set up. Going back to the Greeks. Where they had the House of Senate and all those things involved in their political system. All right, which is still today a part of their system, this beast system we're living in right now, where it has the two horns and spake as a lamb, the two political parties. All right, you got the Democrats and Republicans, which, in former times known as the plebeians. And matter of fact, I'll get it real quick. Salaki, let me pull up. Let me pull up. Okay. This is the plebeians and patricians, right? It says in ancient Rome, which you can go back to Greek, because when you go into the Apocrypha, right? Let me get this real quick. This is during the time of the Greeks, where they had the political parties set up, All right. Let me hold this on deck. It says in ancient Rome, patricians were the hereditary aristocratic nobility who held a monopoly or on political and religious power, while plebeians were the common citizens, including merchants, farmers, and laborers, who made up the vast majority of the population. See, it says the divide between the two groups shaped the entire political landscape of the Roman Republic and evolved significantly over time, which you go into the history, all right, and this is why we called it, or historians, and also we call it as well the Greco-Roman era, because it's synonymous with each other, the Greek Empire and the Roman Empire. All right, it was the same people ruling, all right, as the Greeks, all right, and translated into the Romans, all right, which are the Edomites, man. Okay, when they became as a prominent power or superpower in the earth. When the Greeks was a superpower, that was the Edomite power structure. When Rome became a superpower, That was the Edomite power structure as well. Okay, that stood in the stead of those Japhetic names. Okay, because the people of Japheth were pushed out. You know, but it goes back here to the Greeks because you go into the Maccabees. The Maccabees was during the time of the Greeks. Okay, and this is the two political party system. It says because you have the House of Senate, and the House of Senate involves who? It involves Democrats, Republicans. You have some independents now, but you know the main two are the Democrats, Republicans. Again, the plebeians, patricians are the original. It says First Maccabees 8:15. Moreover, how they made for themselves a Senate house, wherein 320 men sat in council daily, and there wasn't no women back then. It says men. That sat in council, right? It says consulting always for the people, to the end they might be well ordered, and that they committed their government to one man every year, who ruled over all their country, and that all were obedient to that one, and that there was neither envy nor emulation among them. Right, and that's where you get the president. All right, the one man every year, which today they have every 4 years presidency. And that's when the presidency change. At least he be vetoed out. And it's another term for it too. Impeachment. You go through an impeachment process, or he get impeached out of office, basically. All right, and like I said, it's 4 years per term, and you can serve 2 terms, which a total of 8 years. But it all started right here during the time of the Greeks. That's the whole point. And so this is a Edomite political system, okay? And yeah, you may have Jakes that were part of it, because the Greeks took the Southern Kingdom Israelites primarily. You had remnants of northern tribes with them, but primarily it was the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. They were in captivity under the Greeks, man. Okay. That's when you have Judas Maccabean, or the Maccabean revolt, okay, where they revolted against the Greek government, or Greek power, okay. So fast forward today, because the scriptures say what? There's no new thing under the sun. That system that started during the time of the Greeks, and then it translated into the Romans, political system, and then also. When the scriptures, the Roman Empire was the 4th beast. All right, the Greek was the 3rd beast. The 4th was the Roman Empire, right? The 4th beast. And then we know that 4th beast was slain, or had a deadly wound. And then the deadly wound was healed. And how it was healed? Through the Renaissance period. Because you find yourself, when you look at everything about America mirrors, Greece, or the Greek Empire and the Roman Empire, as far as politically, basically it mirrors each other, because it's the same system, okay? And that's why, when you go to the book, when I had quoted, which I'll get it, this is a book of Revelation, Revelation 13:11. See, it says the beast from the earth, which is the same beast, the 4th beast, reincarnated, right? Which is the beast system. It says, Revelation 13:11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Right, the 2 horns going to what? The 2 main political parties, okay? And the dragon is still a great serpent. You know what I mean? All right, because this beast system is likened to what? A serpent. Okay, a serpent is made to what? It's made to deceive, man. And also, the 2 lambs. All right, to speak as the 2 horns speak as a lamb. This system. It plays the part of act like it's for the interest of the people, but really they serve the interest of the elites. Which a dragon is a serpent that's made to devour, man. Okay, and that's what this system does. It devours the people, especially the Israelites, man, which is our people, man. So-called Negro, Latino, and American people, man. So with this system right here, Jake has, positions in the government where they able to have, a voice on these different platforms, and then, give their input. They have certain Senate House seats that Jake may sit in, Congress, what have you, that's set in the council, but overall, they serve the beast system as well. They don't serve the interests of our people. They serve Esau's interests. So really, they still doing the working of Satan, all right? Because this system is not set up to benefit you so-called Negro, Latino, Native American people. And this is why Yahweh Shah ultimately cussed out Israelites for serving Esau's interests. This is John 8:44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father will ye do. All right, so this is Yahweh Shai. He's speaking to Israelites, and cussing Israelites out, man. All right, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. And when he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Right, so behind closed doors, this dude is speaking against our people in such great manner, because everything he wants to happen to our people, it happens. And no matter who of our people that's a part of that, political theater, they don't have no input of impact, or they don't have no they don't have no impact as far as the input they have in the meetings or councils. Nothing ever get better for our people, man. It's a perpetual decline for our people, man. All right, and it's been like that over time. That's why you see your neighborhoods constantly, dwindling. There's no financial backing that goes into our people, man. As far as our communities, all right, it's always economically deprived. Okay. So when you see these Jakes in these political offices and they speaking on behalf of the people, they're not speaking on behalf of the people of their own people, which is us. They're speaking on the behalf of Esau's interests. All right. So let's get into the video real quick, and then I'm gonna close. I want to say fair use, fair use. My videos are not monetized. I don't receive any compensation off these videos, only for literary commentary and educational purposes. So with that being fair use, under the 1976 Section 107 Fair Use Act, I want to play this video clip, okay?
Already voted from overseas, and you chuckle about it. But I want to take a step back and look at this from a 50,000 foot view. To be completely honest, I think Ashley and I have to wrestle with the fact that we are going to be the first generation to actually leave this country worse than the one that we inherited. And I think for Black,
you didn't inherit shit. You didn't inherit nothing. Okay, the righteous don't have an inheritance in the society of the wicked. Okay, only the wicked are able to leave their children an inheritance, man. And that's something that you Jakes, man. That's something that you Jakes don't understand. I think that's in the Apocrypha, if I may. Bear with me 1 second. Let me see if I can grab that. I think it's in Sirach, maybe. Let's see. Let me see. I might have overlooked it, but let me see. Can I find it real quick? It speaks about the inheritance of the wicked, if I'm not mistaken. It may be worded a little differently, but let me see. Can I find it? Okay, because I want to bring that out, because we don't have an inheritance in this world, but the wicked. Okay, here we go. Right here. Let me see. Okay. Okay. We read a couple of these. Okay. It says, let me get this one real quick. Let's go to this one. Proverbs 13 and 22. Salakia. Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So the wealth of the sinner, which is the wicked, all right, it's laid up for the just, because when you go into the scriptures, they've gotten the riches by the sea anyway, because there's the riches of this earth, and the earth itself was made for the sake of us Israelites, man. Okay, it was made for the sake of us Israelites, man. So the wealth that they got, they stolen it from us, and that's why the Lord said, "What? He's gonna make them vomit it up again." Okay, the riches that He swallowed down, because again, the wicked, they're able to leave an inheritance, all right, until their children. Okay, so it says, let's grab this one right here. Let's grab a couple of these, Proverbs 19:14. House and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and the prudent. Well, that's it. The house and riches are the inheritance of fathers, because the fathers is what? The lineage. That's the genealogy, how your bloodline is passed down, and that's usually how you would get an inheritance, through your fathers. All right. That's why it was so important, even in our law, where if a man had only daughters to leave his inheritance, they would have to get with a man of the same tribe, to leave the inheritance within that tribe. Okay, because that man died not having a seed or son. Okay, bun is the Hebrew word there. Okay, because that's the true way that you pass down inheritance. That's why you go into the book of Tobit. It goes into that. That's why the law says what it says. All right, to keep that particular inheritance within that tribe. Because why? The man died having no son. Because that's who you leave the family's wealth to. All right, your son. If you have a son, then you're able to pass down your inheritance or your wealth, what have you, your land, what have you. It says, is there another one? Okay, well, that's it on that. Okay, let's move from there. All right. Let's play a little more of the video. I'm going to play a little more. I'm going to get to Kevin O'Leary part 2, Salakia.
Leave this country worse than the one that we inherited. And I think for Black millennials, the progress that our parents and grandparents gave us, that we're watching being ripped away from us, is something that our generation is going to have to really wrestle with. And
there's no progress, man. Let me fast forward to Kevin O'Leary. There's no progress among you tribes, man.
Zyrtec presents Allergies Aren't Funny.
I finally found my perfect sport, golf. You drive.
Lucky for the commercial. But we don't have no inheritance, man. Simply. There's no inheritance for our people, man. Let's play the clip of let's play this part of the segment.
The use of power across the country in red states and in blue states.
Yeah, it's a good question about redrawing in the middle of an ongoing election. In the case of Louisiana, they didn't have a choice. The Supreme Court said their maps were unconstitutional. They had to redraw it. And so what they chose to do was move the House back to the fall.
Okay, not this part. I want to get up to Kevin O'Leary's point of view. It's like it for the commercials, it's always commercials, so.
Minute to diminish the power of.
Okay, let me see. Okay, here we go, Salaki. Here we go. Fair use, fair use.
Congress.
I think everybody should take confidence in the fact Supreme Court basically supported one vote, one person, guaranteed in perpetuity. And the rest is just map wars. And I think we should get used to it. And I think it's, as you said, a state-based situation. Add this to the mix. At the end of the day, the state decides at the state level. It's in the Constitution. Get over it.
So the problem with that sentiment is that you were born in 1954.
Yeah.
Okay, you're 71.
Yeah.
Right. In 1954,
by the way, I'm a vampire.
During your lifetime, we've actually had Brown v. Board of Education.
I remember.
Yeah, Brown v. Board of Education. I don't know how you remember it. I think you were like 2 months old. But I'm not finished yet. Let me finish my thought.
Drill back to 54.
Yeah, because you're still alive, right? And so there's an entire generation of people. Brown v. Board, it overturned Plessy v. Ferguson in 1896. My point is that my mother was born in 1951. She desegregated schools. My father was shot in the civil rights movement. Those people. I'm going to finish because you're being utterly disrespectful.
Not at all.
So I'm going to finish this comment. So what I'm telling you is that there are people in this country who fought, died, and bled for the right to vote. Don't be a dick. Just understand.
Okay, Epicard,
just
please.
just
I'm not a dick. I'm
understand.
pointing something out to you.
Just
And see that, and that's the problem, man. What you fucking tribes, man. You always want to get a say so in Esau's world. This is Esau's world, man. Let it be that. We have our kingdom to come. That's the whole point why I wanted to play this clip, man. Kevin O'Leary not supposed to care about you fucking Israelites, man. You know? Jake want Esau to care about their struggle, you know, our struggle, you know, and it's like, no, man, it's not written that way. Okay? It's not written that way. The script is not written the way you want it to be, be according to your own mind or feelings. The script is what it is, man. The Heavenly Father had the script play out the way He intended it to be or written it, you know? And we're just living out the script, man. Okay? Jeremiah 15:5, it says, "For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem?" Right? Because this is what this is, man. You know? Now, can He have some kind of valid point in certain political, as far as you Jakes to be in these political arenas? You know, can you have a valid point? You know, maybe. You know, but the point is, they're not supposed to fucking care about your oppression, your progress you're trying to make, which is no progress. You know, they're not supposed to fucking pity you, okay? And that's why I'm reading this, Jeremiah 15:5. "For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem?" Right? What's the word pity means? Okay, we're gonna look up the word pity. It says pity. Pity is a feeling of sympathetic sorrow or compassion for someone else's misfortune. Right? Okay. He don't have no kind of pity towards you, man. Okay. The scriptures say in Romans 13 that it says, "Love working no ill to his neighbor." All right. And this is why you look at the history between the Edomites, all right, and us Israelites. It's always been ill, all right, from them toward us. Again, going back to what the Lord told the woman, Eve. He said, "I would put he told Eve and Adam and Eve that what? He would put the enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the matter of fact, let's go to it real quick, man. I don't want to misquote it. Okay. Genesis. Let me see here. Bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna grab this. Speaks about the enmity, okay? All right, Genesis 3:14. "And the Lord power said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this," right? He beguiled the woman. "Thou art cursed above all cattle," which, excuse me, the serpent was the actual man. Right? He was the cunning man, the deceitful man, that's the spirit of Esau, Edom. Okay? And the spirit of Cain, right? He says, "Thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go," and they did that during the dark ages, living in caves and shit. "And thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life," right? Confusion, right? "And I will put enmity between thee and the woman," right? So hatred, right? "And between thy seed and her seed, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel." So that's the enmity, all right? The seed of the serpent, all right, and the seed of the woman, which later on will become, us Israelites, man, or the woman being Israel, okay, all right. That enmity or hatred is still there. This is why Kevin O'Leary, he can speak the way he speak and talk down on you Jakes, because why? They're our oppressors, man. They are our oppressors, and they don't give a shit how you Israelites fare out in their world. This is their world, man. They're not supposed to give a shit. So back in Jeremiah 15:5, "For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem, or who shall bemoan thee, or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest?" And the answer is no one. All right, nobody's going to ask how you fucking doing, because why? They don't care. All right, that's why you're supposed to have a ruling class mentality to look at them and look down on them, because they was made to really serve us. All right, but because of our disobedience, the heathen were able to rule over us. But again, the kingdom to come, like I mentioned earlier, the kingdom to come is for us to rule over them, and we're going to rule over them, and pretty much we'll have them, all right, under our oppression, all right, or we'll be not our oppression, but we'll be oppressing them, all right, and they'll have, the shit end of the stick, or they'll be, the slave, all right, they'll be slaves to us, all right, they'll be our bondmen and bondwomen, all right, you're going to have them in captivity for 1,000 years, and they won't build up our kingdom just like our nation built up their kingdom, all right, so that's the whole point, man. They're not supposed to care about you, Jakes, man. All right, so with that, all praise and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Shalom to the Lord's elect. And Lord willing, this video have been edifying. To then, shalom in the Bible ball.